Here, I'm looking at the story for claims and weather data that tracks the customer information, including demographics, the vehicle that the customer drives, the insurance policy type, the accident type, and that information is used to estimate the total claim amount. In this video, I will show you how to add the animation to the story. We're going to look at the story scene timeline, how and when objects enter and exit the scene. So first of all, we need to make sure that our story is in edit mode. At the moment, the story is in the view mode, so we need to click on the edit here, and you will see this little green button. It means that the story is editable right now. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to select the sort scene here. And as you can see, our source scene has 4 objects. And we need to modify the scene timeline. We click on this arrow here to open the timeline. See this in the timeline, each object on the scene is represented as a bar, and 5 seconds is a default scene duration. So if I'm going to place this scene right now, do you see this? All 4 objects are visible throughout the duration of the scene. Suppose that I want to change my scene duration. One way to do that is to grab the edge of one of the objects and drag to the timeline where I want my scene to end. Like, for example, if I want my scene to be visible for 7 seconds, right? I'm gonna drag this to the 7 seconds. So that here, what will happen is the scene duration is gonna change to 7 seconds, and the first object that I currently have selected will display for the entire 7 seconds. However, the time when the remaining 3 objects exit the scene does not get automatically changed as I extended the scene duration here. So what I need to do is I would need to actually go back and drag the edge of each bar here. That's one way to do it. Alternatively, you could also specify the scene object animation properties. So let's take a look at that. Let me go back and select my first object again that shows average total claim amount for all data. And I'm going to click on properties, and I'm going to select the animation tab here. Start as tells us when the object enters the scene, right? In this case, it starts at 0 seconds. And exit here, it tells us when the object exits the scene, right? In this case, we want this object to be visible throughout the entire scene duration. So we're just gonna leave it as is. So now, suppose that I have another visualization on this scene that shows the average total claim amount by vehicle class and location code. It's a crosstalk. And I want this visualization to enter the scene after the first 3 seconds. So what I can do is I can drag this edge to 3 seconds, right? Or I can change the animation properties here of this object. So here, this is a start time, start as 3 seconds, and I can specify how I want it to start. For example, I want this to slide in. Then I go back to here, and I can, let's say I want this to exit the scene after 6 seconds. So I can either drag this edge or I can go to animation properties here, and I can change the exit properties to click here. Then I want this, instead of fading out, I want this to slide out, right? So I can specify these properties for all objects on my scene, right? So I would just need to select each object one at a time and to specify its animation properties. So here I selected the object that shows average total claim amount by location code, and I'm just making it up. Suppose that I want this object to appear after 2 seconds. So I'm just gonna say starts at 2 seconds, right? Then in here, I can specify how it starts, and I can do something like shrinking, right? So that shows here you just saw a brief preview of the shrinking. Then I can go back to exit, and suppose that I want this to exit at 6 seconds. I'll just specify 6, and I can specify how I want to exit it. So perhaps I want to select expand out. All right. So suppose that I'm done with the configuration and I want to preview my scene. What am I going to do now? I can click here to close the properties, right? So note this. Here, over here, it's a timeline marker. This just shows the timeline in a scene that I'm looking at. So in this case, I'm looking at 5 seconds, right? But what I want to do is I want to preview this scene from the beginning to the end. So in the beginning, I see only 2 objects. Why? Because I have 2 objects that do not show in the beginning of the scene. See this? I want one of my visualizations to show at 2 seconds and another visualization to show at 3 seconds. So that's the reason I do not see all 4 visualizations here. So to preview this scene, I just click on a play button here. Let's watch what happens. Do you see this? How objects enter and exit the scene based on what I specified. And again, this setting that I just changed will apply only to this specific scene. If I want to define this animation for my other scenes in a story, I would need to define those properties, right? So now what if I want to exit the scene timeline? I would just click on this X, all right? Thank you very much for watching this video on the scene animation in a story. See you soon.